I have a 100% close rate. How do I do it? Because I close at the beginning. I get every one of my prospects to make a commitment that by the end of this first meeting, they're going to make a decision. No, we're not doing it, or we're moving forward. That's how you close. You get a decision and a commitment at the beginning that something will happen at the end. Closing isn't about winning the deal, getting the meeting, getting the appointment, or whatever it is that you think considered successful other than a no. That's not what closing is. Closing is getting a commitment from a prospect as to whether or not you'll move forward. And whether or not you're going to move forward is going to be dependent on how you disqualify. Getting a prospect to move forward but it turns out they're not qualified is a waste of time. I don't want to get to the end of the sales process to discover that the person I've been talking to can't make the decision, or the person I've been talking to loves what I have, but they just can't find the money to invest, or they can't commit the time, or they can't commit the resources. That doesn't make you a good salesperson, because we had 6 meetings in a row. We're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to a yes. And you get right to the end and for some reason, oh, I'm sorry, I can't buy. Well, if I'd known that 6 meetings ago, we never would have gone down this process. Your fault. If you believe that closing is getting someone to give you money, then you're an idiot. It's not hard to get money off of a human being. You can mug an old lady. You can kick a tramp to death. You could rob a bank. Or, to be more ethical, you could do this. I really love your product, Benjamin. I really want to work with you. I know you can help me. We can't quite afford $150. Could you do it for $110? And you say, yeah, I'm sure I can make that work. That's not selling. That's called discounting. If you have to discount to win a deal, you're not a salesman. If you can't get your value, if you can't get the worth that you know you're worth, you're not a salesman. Discounting isn't selling. Negotiating isn't selling. Notice how we use different words to define these behaviors: discounting, negotiating, selling. Selling is this: getting your fees on your terms and both parties walking away satisfied. If you can't do that, don't call yourself a salesman. Rather than spending your time trying to get people to buy from you, trying to positively sell what it is that you do, what you should be doing is figuring out the reasons we can't do this, why it's not going to work. Because if you can overcome those in the sales meeting, guess what? You are closer to winning. Your job as a salesperson is to disqualify people that cannot buy from you. And if you disqualify people that can't buy, guess what happens? You start to sell. So I'll give you a little tip. This is something I do. I know from my experience that the main reasons why people don't buy from me, and you'll know this too, if you look historically over why people haven't bought from you, you'll see a pattern, you'll see a theme. And there'll be 2 or 3 things that consistently get given to you as a reason why they won't buy. Start using those objections at the beginning of your meetings, saying, look, I'll be upfront with you, Mr. Prospect. Can I tell you the 3 reasons why we're probably not going to work together, even if you want to? And they will say, tell me. And you then tell them. And do you know what happens when you tell people the reasons they're not going to work with you? They either say, you're right, and I'm glad we got that out of the way now because, yes, this can't happen. Or they're going to say, you're wrong. Now, if they say you're right, I'm disqualifying. Why would I want to spend any more time with a human being when they've said to me, you know what, the reasons you've given as to why we can't work with you, they apply here? Good. I want to know that. Let's get out of here. Or they argue with me and say, no, Benjamin, none of those will apply. And then I can challenge it. Well, why not? And then they'll give me a justification. This is my job. My job is to disqualify people that can't buy from me. So if you've done this properly, you're going to get to the end of the meeting and you're going to ask them a question. And you're going to say, look, based on the answers I've given and the questions I've asked, do you believe I can help you? And if they say yes, you're then going to say, well, what do you want to do? What's the next step? And they are going to say, well, didn't we agree at the beginning that the next step would be? And you go, yes. Is that what you want to do? And they'll say, yes. Close at the beginning. You're now in control. You can now disqualify. You can confirm whether or not you're going to be able to move forwards or not move forwards. And then when you've got to the end, if you've done your job, they've convinced you that they need what you have, and you're convinced they want what you have, and you agree to move forwards. It's that simple. Closing is getting the right outcome. And sometimes the right outcome is no, and sometimes the right outcome is yes. Just like the right outcome from this video for you is to subscribe. So click here to watch more. Much longer do I have to do this? Fuck off.